With the final shape right around the corner, I wanted to go over my favorite build for this long season we had and talk about what I'm going to be taking into the final shape. And this build is obviously nothing new, and it's more of just a recap of something I've been having fun with. However, new builds will be coming out the moment final shape is released, and I hope you all are excited for it. All right, jump right into it. This is going to be a poison warlock build. It's not the normal setup with things like spin grenade. I'm playing more so into the DPS build of it, and this is pretty much what I've been running almost the entire season. Obviously, we're going to be taking necrotic grip, so whenever we get a melee, we will cause poison damage, and whenever those poison enemies die, they will spread the poison around. This is extremely nice paired with Brute Reaver because you do have Arcane Needle. Not only is this a ranged melee, it also will apply the Unravel effect, and it has 3 charges. With the poison and Unravel combined together, it is a constant dot damage tick, and you're constantly going to be able to spread Unravel and poison everywhere. Now, a weapon to pair with this is going to be Thorn. You could also run Osteo's Trigger if you want to, or Necrochasm, but I like Thorn because of all the hand cannon buffs that came through. You can poison enemies with the dot damage of the gun alone, and it will also spread the necrotic grip. So if you get a kill with Thorn, it will actually proc necrotic grip, and you don't even have to go for a melee. So between this, your Unravel, and Thorn, you are going to be able to just spread dot damage everywhere. Now, other things that can play into this are going to be things like the Wanderer. So whenever I throw my Tangle, it will cause a suspending burst that will suspend enemies, and then also if my Threadlings get a kill, it will also make a Tangle. The other cool benefit of this is that the Wanderer gets thrown so much further than a normal Tangle, so you can pair that with Grapple, and you can grapple onto the Wanderer, and you can just go flying. It is a ton of fun to do, and it even has some use cases as well. You can throw your Tangle into a group of enemies, fly with it extremely quick, it will suspend everyone, and then you can grapple melee to kill everything. Now, speaking of grapple melee, we're also going to be taking Mind Spell Invocation, so this is going to buff our grapple grenade to actually spawn 3 Threadlings whenever we do a grapple melee. Those Threadlings are going to be very good because they can also make Tangles for us, but on top of that, we're also going to be running Thread of Evolution, so Threadlings travel further and deal additional damage. This is nice because now your grapple melee is not only doing a ton of damage by itself, the Threadlings it creates will also do a ton of damage, and since the grapple melee technically counts as a melee, you're also going to be spreading necrotic grip everywhere with your grenade, which is very, very cool. And the final thing to note is the grapple melee also unravels targets, so getting a grapple melee or a normal melee will cause Unravel and poison to spread and have that dot damage ticking all the time. Now, Needle Storm is also going to greatly benefit from things like Thread of Evolution because Needle Storm is already very strong with doing a lot of damage, but this will make Threadlings, but then the Threadling that this super creates will also get the damage boost from Thread of Evolution, so your super just does more damage. Final things to help out with this build is going to be things like Thread of Ascent, so whenever I activate my grenade ability, it will reload my equipped weapon and grant bonus airborne effectiveness and handling for a short duration. Since you're going to be able to use your grapple all the time, this is just nice to have to reload your gun. You're mainly going to use this for things like DPS. If you're running something like Cataphract or a rocket, you can shoot all your ammo, you can grapple the ground, immediately cancel it. You're going to get around half of your grenade energy back, and you're going to get all the other benefits alongside reloading the gun. It is extremely nice. The next up is Thread of Warding. So if I pick up an orb, I'm getting Woven Mel. This is obviously very strong. You just pick up orbs all the time. You just constantly have that damage reduction. And then Thread of Generation, so dealing damage generates grenade energy. Every single damage from this build, all the dot damage you're doing, just all the single target damage you're doing, all the ball CPS you're doing, you'll constantly have your grapple up pretty much 24/7. And again, you're unraveling, you're making Threadlings, you're spreading poison with it, and all of this just synergizes together so well. Now, in this current season, you can take advantage of things like Horde Shuttle to make even more Threadlings to play into Thread of Evolution even more, but obviously when final shape rolls around, that won't be a thing, so I wouldn't stress about that too much. But when it comes to stats, 100 resilience is definitely what you want, 100 discipline so you can get your grapple back even faster, and then I opt in to take as much strength as possible because again, your Arcane Needle with this setup is very, very strong, and you want to throw them out as much as you can. For weapons, we've kind of already went over everything. Just any obviously really good DPS weapon, Thorn, or any other weapon of Sorrow that you want to run. Indebted Kindness has pretty much been in my inventory the entire time I've gotten this. This is actually a newer one, that's what has lower kills. I finally got one with Let from Gold, but obviously this loadout right here, extremely strong, and you are very mobile, grappling everywhere, flying on the Tangles, making Threadlings with almost everything, reloading all your guns, having damage reduction, spreading poison. It is very, very fun. Now for armor mods, I like to go for is a kinetic siphon so my Thorn can make orbs. I also like to take a heavy ammo finder since I'm running an exotic primary. This can spawn heavy more often. Also a hands-on so I gain bonus super energy whenever I get a melee kill. This is nice for Arcane Needle, and grapple melee also will proc this. Now next up is going to be a kinetic loader. You don't really need a kinetic loader since Thorn can overflow the magazine with its catalyst, but if you ever don't have Thorn one overflowed. I like to have this just to reload the gun a little bit faster. You can definitely swap this off whatever you want to. Momentum transfer, so when I cause damage to the grenade, it will reduce my melee cooldown. This is nice because whenever I use my grapple melee, I'm getting more arcane needle cooldown now. And then grenade kickstart, so whenever I use my grapple, I will get energy back. And this is based on the amount of armor chart stacks I have. So if I'm at 3, I'm gonna get a good hefty chunk of my grapple back. And again, this just further plays into the fact that you can spam grapple all the time. Now for chest piece, always swap resistant mods, whatever content you're going into. And then for boots, I like to take a recuperation, a better already, and an innervation. Recuperation will give me a small chunk of health whenever I pick up an orb. Better already will start my health generation, so you don't really have to worry about recovery. And then innervation will give me more grenade energy, so again, just be able to spam grapple more. And then since you are getting woven mail every time you pick an orb up as well, this just means you're getting damage reduction, you're getting health, and you're starting regeneration. It is very strong and it makes you almost unkillable, and it's what allows you to be very aggressive with your grapple. And then finally, it's our class item. I just like to take a bomber, so whenever I use my class ability, I get some grenade energy back. You don't really take advantage of this too often because you only really use your healing rift whenever you're in a sticky situation, but there really isn't anything else here that's super important, honestly, so I just opted to take that. Powerful attraction, so whenever I use my class ability, I will pick orbs up around me. This is nice in a sticky situation if you do need to put your rift down to grab some orbs. You can get the woven mail, you get the recuperation, you get all the other stuff we just mentioned. And then proximity ward, so whenever I get a finisher, I will get an overshield. If I grapple in, get a grapple melee, and it doesn't kill them but it leaves it finishable, I can then just use a finisher to have a huge overshield. I probably will have woven mail up too, and it makes you almost unkillable. And then for the most important part of the build, this is the transmog I'm running. If you want to make your warlock look like this, I obviously went heavy into the poison. Look at this. I think it turned out looking extremely well. It's so animated. It has a bunch of little poison things on it. It also takes advantage of the Crota helmet. I think it looks absolutely sick. Honestly, I think this is one of my favorite transmogs I've ever done. So again, if you want to make your warlock look like this, definitely be sure to copy it down. But all right, that is going to do it all for my favorite build slash the build I'm taking into final shape. Once we get prismatic unlocked, I will probably swap over to using that subclass, but pretty much everything else in the build I'm going to keep the exact same. And I know this video is a lot faster than my other build videos, but there really isn't anything too crazy to talk about. This was just supposed to be a fun end the season build to get us ready for final shape, and I promise you there are going to be a ton of builds on this channel. So if you all enjoyed this and want to see all the other more in-depth builds, definitely be sure to stick around. I cannot wait for Tuesday, and I hope you all are as excited as I am. Anyways though, I can't wait to see you all in the final shape. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Peace.